Welcome back, ladies and gents, to the Behind the Brand podcast. My name is Curtis and I am the host. And today we have a returning guest, the very first returning guest of the Behind the Brand podcast. So we have Ashley in today, no stranger. She's from the coffee stop in Paisley. How you doing?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm alright, alright.
Nice to be back.
That was quite thing. They're quite serious for a minute there. We've been chatting for ages.
It was.
Off the camera.
It's in pure formal.
I know. How you been?
Good. Busy, but good.
I can imagine you'd be busy.
Yeah.
Especially where you are. For those that don't know, Ashley is based in Paisley Gilmour Street Station between platform 2 and 3.
Yep.
If I'm right. So you are literally catching so much traffic. So much traffic of people. Not traffic of trains, but people.
Hopefully no trains.
Well, we hope not, to be fair. But how's things actually like been going and stuff like that? Like, because obviously, how many months have you been in?
9th of October, so what is that, nearly 4 months?
I think you're coming up for it, aye?
Yeah, nearly 4 months. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that actually.
It's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think that you were obviously in here before you'd actually opened as well?
I think I was just opening, 2 weeks after?
That's right, aye, because it was kind of like a promo sort of thing to get you, to kind of get people aware of what you were doing and stuff like that. So how do you feel like you are now as a person from like then to now?
Totally different. It's a totally different world actually. See, coming from a massive organisation where you kind of do what you're told and you're not your own boss, you're not making really many decisions for yourself as such, and then you're responsible for paying folks' wages, your own wage, your bills. It's a totally different ball game.
Oh, I can imagine.
Completely. You've got to be a business head on, but you've also got to be nice to your staff, make sure your staff are looked after, because if they're looked after, they're going to look after your customers and that's what's going to bring them back. And it's just trying to find the balance with being the boss but being their pal. And
literally just,
you know,
that was sitting in the back of my head. I'm like, how do you manage that, knowing that you were friends before this?
Yep.
They've obviously jumped on board to work with you and be your staff and things like that. So how do you actually manage that and go about with that? Like, do you feel it sometimes? Now, I've met your staff. Your staff are abs. Ashley's staff are amazing. the nicest people ever, honestly. And I guarantee, even if Ashley's not there on a day, maybe working, you'll still have the same amazing experience regardless. They're just wonderful, wonderful people, such great backgrounds, and just really, really eager to help and to actually help your business as well. They kind of take on that image of what you want your business to be like, I would say.
And I think that's the difference. So when I took Ross and Darren on, I worked with Ross before. He was my boss before. That's the ironic thing, how the tables have turned.
The Padawan is now the master.
That's it. And Darren I poached from other places. But see, the fact that they've been with me on the journey from the start to trying to open the place, and we know how stressful it was trying to open. We're not going to talk too much about it because it's over and done with now, and I'm all for the positivity. Let's just breathe and leave it. But they've been on the journey since the start, and I think because they totally support me, my views, my vision, and they share it as well. Yeah. That makes it easier. They know what I'm looking for, what I expect, and what I'd like to see, and they've just totally they've made a bar for themselves that it's probably unmatched. So it's not difficult. I wouldn't say it was a challenge. I can see how it could be a challenge, but I've never had to come in and give him a roasting for anything, to be honest.
I couldn't even imagine you giving anybody a roasting. You're just too nice, to be fair.
No, and I think I probably would struggle with it because you don't want to give folk into bother for anything. Nah. But we're adults here and we can have adult conversations. See if I'm not happy with something or something's bugging me, I just say it. Yeah. And it's just having that adult conversation. Nobody takes it personally. It's not. And what I like about Ross and Darren is they'll come to me with stuff. You know, Ash, this isn't working, or have you thought about this, or we've been thinking about this, and I love that they can come to me with their own ideas and what they think, because they're there all the time. I go in for the banter. I don't go in for like working a full shift. I did when Ross was off on his honeymoon. Oh my goodness, he getting up at 5:30 in the morning to cover Ross's shift under torture. And the annoying thing was, I'd be getting up there when he was off, and his customers in the morning, is he not back yet?
Oh,
when's
that's
he back
so
in?
nice.
And you think, what, am I not good enough? I clearly really don't match Ross's persona
I
or
was going to say,
banter.
you're also getting papped out.
I am the second class citizen in there. Like, I come in and it's like, oh, you're in today, are you? You know, here's a night shift coming in. You think, very good. I just came in with the cakes and saunter back off again.
Oh, that's amazing. So do you all have like kind of set kind of working times so that people would expect, as you say, to see Ross first and then maybe you on like maybe their way back from the journey or whatever? Is that kind of...
Kinda. So Ross covers the morning shift most of the time, apart from my Wednesday where Darren does that. Darren will not mind me saying that he's like myself. He's not a morning person. He's in his early 20s, let's face it. Who wants to get up at 5:30 in the morning?
I'm in my late 20s and I still don't want to get up.
I'm in my late 30s and don't want to go up.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
So Ross does the morning shift. It suits his work-life balance. He's quite happy with that. He's got dogs. He's got kind of older kids as well that he still needs to do kind of school drop-offs and pick-ups and stuff like that. So it suits him. And Darren's quite happy coming in and doing the finish, which is good. So they've got their regulars, and they're so loved by their regulars. And when they're not in, they notice. They notice that they're not there.
It's nice because obviously we were touching upon it. We were actually doing a wee project together, which we might be able to discuss later on. It's up to yourself, obviously. But it was so nice though. Like when I was speaking to them and we were speaking to you, like how you can really make somebody's day.
Yep.
Being that first point of contact for somebody as well. Like we will briefly talk like later on about like the impact of like mental health and stuff like that, and how you have been going about it as well. Like you've obviously teamed up with a charity, a local charity, I believe, as well. So again, we'll touch upon that, but it was so nice, like hearing how you view it, being the first person like that somebody might see for the day.
Yep.
Like I just thought that was like the way that you kind of went about it. Like it was so nice to hear. Like it's not just another business at the end of the day. Like selling coffee, see you later on your way. Like you really take into consideration people's feelings and emotions as well in the morning, which is nice. Especially obviously if you're not a morning person, but it's nice that you do that.
I know how they feel, but not being a morning person. That's the thing. But it's true. We can sometimes be somebody's only interaction. Yeah. The day we've got some customers that come up that are just from different parts of society, and you can tell that we're sometimes the only person that they've maybe spoke to. God love them.
I mean, who better to meet in the morning than you guys, to be fair? Exactly.
And it can be any time. Sometimes it's in the evenings. I meet some of our customers in the evenings, and they're regulars and they do come up just for a blather.
What is your working hours? That's probably something I didn't ask maybe last time. What is the actual hours that you maybe are there? I mean, it might change daily, but you might have different hours and stuff. But do you have set hours that you do?
Me personally?
Well, just the actual coffee stop itself.
When it's open. Yeah. So we're open Monday to Wednesday. We're open from 6:30 until 4 o'clock. Thursday and Fridays we're open from 6:30 till 6, so it's quite late. And on a Saturday we're open from 9 until 4.
There you go. It's just for anybody that was listening and just thinking, well, I get in at that time or I start at that time or whatever. So maybe they know that if they're planning ahead with their journeys, they can go, right, I can jump into the coffee stop and I can grab my coffee before I go.
Totally.
Because you're literally on that platform going to Glasgow.
Yep. And
I'm like, for everybody and anybody that works in Glasgow, like that's the place you want to be. Especially if you're running late. Like we all do.
Listen, there's been times we've been flinging folks coffee at them for them to make the train, you know, because they've realised how much they really want a coffee when they see us coming up the stairs and they go, oh, the train's maybe in like 2 minutes, and you will get, can you make my cappuccino in 2 minutes? And you're like, go, go, go.
I'm surprised you're not getting text messages from people. Like, I'm outside, just make sure it's there, the train's there.
Who knows? It could be an option in the future, who knows? It's a bit difficult to manage that, mind you.
Your social page would just be people rampaging your messages, being like, cappuccino in 3, 2, 1. You'd be like, oh, they're there.
I know, talk about pressure. But no, it's the interaction we get with people up there's kind of what I was looking for when I'm up there. We wanted to build that community, and we've got a really loyal community up there, folk that come up for all sorts of chat with us, and we've become part of people's daily routine, which is a privilege. I think it's a privilege anyway, and we get so much chat from people from all walks of life, and it's great. It makes me happy.
Have you came across any funny experiences yet, like kind of funny experiences as such? By funny I mean like anytime you've had to like, you're kind of like, well, this is a bit too much. Do you know what I mean, in a sense?
Try to think.
You might not have come out. I mean, you've only been there for 3 months, whatever. You've hit the nail on the head. Like you're such nice people as well, and what you've created is such a nice thing as well. But being in a train station as well,
Yeah.
you can obviously run into trouble and things like that but I don't think you've had that anyway. But just in case you had something
Not
like that,
as-
you have experience or whatever that's
Not
that's
as
came up.
personally.
No.
We're giving folk caffeine. They need to be nice to us.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
But we've not had anything personally. I think what we see, and it is a shame, is I think the ticket staff and the station staff get a lot of abuse. For doing their job. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you think or what your opinion is. They're only doing their job at the end of the day. Like everybody else is trying to make a living.
Yeah.
And the level of abuse they get is quite difficult. And being from my background and my previous job,
yes.
it's difficult to stand back. And sometimes you do have to. And sometimes I have intervened and just reminded people that just be decent, be cool.
Be a bit nicer, definitely.
There's no need for that. I had another, I had to deal with a poor girl that had an epileptic fit on the station.
God's sake.
On the platform. I'd served this guy his coffee and he just casually walked back up to me and says, "Is there any first aiders about?" And I thought, "No, why? What's wrong?" "Oh, I think there's someone having a seizure on the platform." Oh, for goodness sake. I'm grabbing my keys, locking up, running over, protecting her head and making sure she's all right to the ambulance get there. It's never a dull moment.
That was kind of where I was kind of leaning to, like, have you had like kind of those moments? But
Aye.
I think the thing is you've got to be prepared for anything and everything.
Anything.
Which is something that you, I'd imagine, would be so good at handling as well.
Aye. But we're ready for it. And I think, again, previously, expect unexpected. Nothing phases us.
Knowing you in your past, there definitely nothing can face you.
Nah.
Especially with the previous job.
Screaming banshee, a customer, no problem. Got my head.
Do not mess with Ashley. Do not mess with Ashley.
It's not what you've got to worry about, it's the boys.
I can just see them now as well.
Aye.
I think as well, like, do you know what I love about yours as well? Like, it's so family orientated.
Yeah.
Like, as I say, the project we were kind of working on. You can be the one to talk about it, but obviously, like, it was so nice. Even your opening day as well, like all your family and that came down and we did a wee bit of content and kind of filmed like the experience of it and seeing people come up. Like, it just has that feel to it. It's just so nice. It's no fake. It's so unique. It genuinely feels like the nicest thing that you could walk into in your first interaction, especially in a train station like that where everybody looks doom and gloom.
How interesting is a train station?
Walk up to you. I know. When they walk up those steps and then they just see your shop and you're just like, just.
Aye. You'll either hear me laughing, or you'll hear Ross laughing, or you'll hear Darren getting slated for something. It's just how it.
And that's just for the staff.
It's just for the staff, exactly. Or it's the station staff. They've got the home in on poor Darren. It's a shame for him, bless him. But he can listen. He can dish it.
He can take it. Aye,
that's what I wanted when I had my vision of what it would look like, and I don't just mean physically what it would look like, but what it would feel like to work there, and what it would look like to the public. That was it. And it's because it's dead easy for me to sit here and say, it's not about making money. And you've got to make money. You've got to be in it.
It's still a business. You've got to live.
Pay our bills and our wages and stuff. But I honestly care more about the customer experience, how they feel when they come up and see us. What do they see? What do they hear? And I think if somebody's having a really bad day and they come up to us and we're full of positive energy or whatever, 9 times out of 10 we can be responsible for flicking that for somebody and making somebody's day from being a little bit rubbish to, really not that, so much better than what they thought it would be, I think. But it's just having that positive energy. And I think for me as the boss, and I hate saying that word, the boss, I like to do everything I can in the background to make sure that when Ross and Darren are in there, they're concentrating on the quality of the coffee and the stuff that obviously I'm in charge of the bakes. They wouldn't get anywhere near the bakes,
I like that.
right?
You just don't let them have too much. That's the thing.
No. I want them to concentrate on the coffee and the customer interaction because that is the most important thing to me. So if I can sticker the cups, label everything that needs labelled, stock the fridges, I just want them to concentrate on people because that's what's important to me, because that's what's going to keep them coming back.
And listen, I could see that firsthand when we were up, obviously doing what we were doing, and there was still members of the public coming up to you, even though you weren't technically open. They were still coming up to you, and you're just like, your interactions with them were just second to none. It was so nice, honestly, and it just creates such a nice buzz around the place as well. I'd imagine, especially in the morning. Like, I can imagine you must be like stowed, like. people queuing up probably in the stairs. I'm like, where would the queue?
I know.
Are they queuing for the train or are they queuing for the coffee stop? You're like, what ones?
I know it is. It can be a bit bonkers. But folk just love coming up and blathering. They love it. They love a blather with us, and that's
must make the day go fast as well for you. It's like
it does.
Because I'd imagine, obviously, after a while of being the 3 or maybe the 2 at the time, you're like, how much more do we have to talk about and whatever? No, maybe like that, but I'd imagine you've probably got hunters to talk to it. But you know what it's like, it just, there, as you say, there's something new every day that comes with it. So many people that you'll maybe see for the first time, the regulars that you get back in as well. One thing that maybe we could touch on then is obviously any changes that you've made to the coffee stop, because when you originally started you were simply doing coffee and cakes. Is that still the case as well? No. And again, I think it goes back to listening to your customers. So I was not averse to it, but one of the biggest things that we have been asked for, as you very well know, is rolls. As in sausage rolls? Rolls. Any rolls. Soft crispy ones. Beef. You day rolls. So that's been a bone of contention for about 2 months. I tried to avoid it purely, and I'm going to be brutally honest here, I didn't want to go home smelling like bacon and sausage. I can imagine. I worked in it's my hair. McDonald's and stuff like that, and you were coming home and you were stinking. Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the smell of it. Who doesn't? But when you're coming home and you're like, smell of like pure grease and McFries and stuff like that. Yes. Probably should have just said fries, but fries. Yes. It's horrible, but I thought... It sticks to you as well. Like, it does, and it doesn't, and I feel like it, no matter how many times I wash my hair, sometimes I feel like I still smell oil. It's horrible. Aye. You kind of, in your clothes as well though, like with your uniforms and stuff like that as well. I don't want to say too much about this because I need to make sure my staff actually are behind this, so we'll maybe not say too many negative things. Don't. That's it. It's a great thing to do, honestly. The best job ever, definitely. Absolutely. So for 2 months, it kind of got obvious quite quickly. And when I was up there quite a lot over Christmas, and because Christmas was bonkers. It really was. It was really busy. But I was starting to really pay attention to my competition, my competitors. Which, by the way, is a healthy thing to do. Yes. For anybody listening, like that is you've got to. Totally healthy thing to do. You've got to. As part of being in the hospitality world, if you like, the service industry. How do you get better? If you don't look at what others are doing around you. What are other people doing? What are we missing? Is there anything we could be doing better? Is there anything we can be doing more of? And it became apparent, and then the customers were asking for it. So I thought, right, it's not about me. This isn't just about me. This is about what my customers are looking for and what they would like. So yes, we are putting a hot plate in this week. Oh my God. And we're going to be doing rolls. You day rolls? But it changes everything. When you put a hot plate in somewhere, it changes everything. You've got to have all your health and hygiene stuff. I was going to ask that because obviously I've been in your space, and we kind of touched upon it as well, which hopefully you'll see maybe soon. Yes. But with that, obviously such a big change to it, like digging a wee bit about the kind of stuff that you maybe had to look at and doing and stuff like that, for somebody maybe listening and being like, oh, I didn't realise I had to do all that sort of stuff. And it's not just as easy as just going, I'm just going to shove an oven in the back and whatever, I'm going to cook after rolls, whatever. Like, it's not as easy as that at all. But I'll let you be the one to let everybody know that. I think for me it's slightly different because you've got to remember where I am. I'm on a ScotRail platform, ScotRail Network Rail platform. So everything's got to be adhered to slightly differently. So for me, like some cafes and restaurants and stuff could have like a deep fat fryer, and I can't have anything like that. So I can put a hot plate in, that wasn't a problem. But it was things like making sure we had a heat detector, not a smoke detector. And you don't always get the answer quickly. When you're working with big organisations, you've sometimes got to wait a bit longer. But everyone's got to have their food hygiene certificate for catering. I've got to have my level 3 because I'm the manager and I'm responsible for everybody's awareness, but everybody's training as well. Because ultimately it falls back on you. Falls back to me. If health and safety come in or food hygiene come in and they're not happy, then it's not the staff they're going to be unhappy with, it's going to be me. So it's which is fine, that's my responsibility. But it's everything like your allergen information, which, as we know from the previous podcast with my cakes and stuff like that, I'm pretty clued up on it anyway, but you've got to show that you're clued up on it officially and have all your qualifications, having a temperature probe, coloured boards for all your different... You may not be cutting loads of things in the shop per se, but you've got to have all these things. You've got to have all your signs up.
like signs to remind your staff to wash their hands, which I know sounds ridiculous, but you've got to have them to say
one of the kind of standard things now, isn't it? Everywhere you go, it's like, please wash your hands.
Yes.
And you're like, please wash your hands.
I hope you wash your hands.
Please wash your hands.
And it's just, as I say, it's not as simple as putting a hot plate in. You know, it's getting, and it's taking a wee bit a step further as well, because for me, and I don't know if this is just me, so I'm happy to discuss, but see, when I go anywhere for something to eat, I don't necessarily want to be able to see where it's getting cooked. So I thought, put nice kind of metal sheeting up to cover and protect the window and protect the walls and stuff like that, because it's kind of wood walls we've got. Don't want that going on fire, let's face it. But just protects it, and it just makes it a bit cleaner looking for me, because I'm a clean freak. That's the one thing that I've always been like that. But when you're making people's food, it needs to be right. It needs to look clean. It needs to, be kept clean all the time. So it's just the little added things that we've put in to make sure that the customers are getting a decent roll that's made in a nice place.
Well, that is the main thing, innit? It's that kind of, is it etiquette? Is that the kind of word we're looking for here? Like having that for people. And there's certain places you do love going in, like say like sushi restaurants and stuff like that. Like you love seeing that. Like I love going into like places like Yo Sushi and things like that. And I see them doing whatever it is, because I'm always like, is it my one that's next? You're always like that. But when it's a roll, I'm kind of like, just do what you do. As long as it takes care of itself and it's nice, whatever. I'm like, you're always going to get that repeat customer as well, because that's going to be such a big part of people's mornings as well. Missing out on breakfast, you're going to catch so many people.
Fingers crossed. That's the game.
I might just swing by before going to work.
Totally.
Feel like I don't even get the trainer in, but I might just swing by.
Well, that's the thing, and I would say that because I think there's still a wee bit of confusion, and although the ticket staff are there to do their job, if you tell them you're just coming up to the coffee stop, that you don't need a ticket to go onto the platform, you can come up and see me. It's not, I still think there's a bit of jobiety about that, but you don't need a ticket to come up to us and get food and drink and coffee.
I was literally just thinking that, because when we were coming up, obviously, to see you on Sunday there, I was a bit like, I wonder if we will get thingied, like, because obviously with Paisley Gilmour Street Station, for you those that don't know, there's a separate door that leads you in. So there's a, depends on what you look at. We'll see the front as well, like the last post in the bus station is. We'll just say that's the front. You've got one door that leads you into the ticket office, and then you've got one that takes you up the stairs. Used to be a wee shop there, but I don't know if it's there anymore. No, it's totally gone. So that door leads you straight up the stairs, and then from there you can go to the platforms. Obviously, if you pre-booked your tickets, you don't really need to go into the ticket station. You can go straight up the stairs. But as somebody that, like myself, that was just coming in to obviously see yourself and do what we were doing, I was a bit like, I wonder if we'll get like meat here as well, especially because I was carrying about equipment as well. But I was like, I don't really know how this is going to go down, but generally felt fine. Nobody checked us. Nobody checked us. Nobody mentioned anything to us. So I was a bit like, oh, you can do that.
Yeah, on a Sunday, I don't think there's ticket staff on a Sunday. Sometimes we get the revenue team in, but I'm not entirely sure when they do come in. I don't think they do come in on a Sunday though, but any other time there is barrier staff on, and their job is just to make sure that we're kind of duping their fare on the trains or
which
whatever.
Which is fair enough, to be fair. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's just they're just doing a job like everybody else, but they're really supportive of us, and we've got a really good relationship with them. We're kind of part of their wee family and their wee team as well, which is lovely. And if you are just coming up to us, they're more than happy to let you up. It's no problem. Aye,
because a lot of the guys were asking about what we were obviously up to as well, and I seen that. I'm not sure your other Ross, that's his name, colleague, Ross, sorry, I'm out my head there. We've seen Ross speaking to one of the staff members as well, and I'm like, that's nice. Obviously, you've only been in there for so long, but you've already built up a nice wee relationship with staff members from ScotRail or Network Rail that have been there for donks now.
Aye, and the station supervisors are great with us as well. We've built a really good relationship. It's just constant banter. It's absolutely... People must walk up the stairs and think, what on earth is happening up there? You'll normally hear my laugh because it's obvious it's my laugh, but you'll hear Ross as well. He's got a big proper like belly laugh, you know. It's you hear it, and you do get people coming up the stairs as well saying, oh, you can hear it just
as you're laughing. But that must be so nice though, because you walk in that train station and it can be like so eerie and quiet and things like that, and all you're hearing is the announcements as well, but you're actually creating a bit of a buzz in there and creating a bit of an atmosphere and stuff like that, so that again it is approachable. More people will be like, what's happening over there? And be like, oh, I didn't know that was over there.
I know, didn't know over there. But still do get people coming up the stairs and going, when did you open? 4 months ago.
It's mental. But you think how many people go on a train though? But some people maybe once in a blue moon as well.
I know, but it's a busy station.
Well, we were discussing that last time. I think it was like the fourth
busiest in Scotland.
Busiest.
It is.
So those wee bits that you just think, wow, that's like,
I know.
In Paisley,
I know.
The whole
So
Scotland's,
it
like,
has been a
mental.
challenge. I've been busy the past couple of days sorting out hot plate, Ban Marie for keeping stuff warm so you can hot hold stuff. Because of where we are, it's a quick turnaround, as you can imagine. So it's making sure there is stuff cooked off, but it's kept at a safe temperature. So all that sort of, you've got to think all these things and make sure that folk aren't hanging about for rolls too long, and because you are at the mercy of a timetable.
I was going to say,
up there. That's
if they don't
the
get
difference.
it,
Aye,
it could cause all that kind of grief and drama as well. But
yeah,
people have to be a bit realistic as well.
It is, and they've got to own it as well. If they're just coming up the stairs and their train's pulling in, it's not happening.
No.
And we own that as well. We'll say to folk, I'm sorry, we're not going to get that done. It's not going to happen in time. But I don't want that interaction to be taken away either. I don't want us concentrating too much trying to make folks food and coffee and not having. I don't want to lose the interaction that we have with people, because I think it's really important.
Are you planning to just do the rolls as just like a morning thing, or are you going to kind of keep it for like a whole day? Like, you're going to change up. So like morning you'd have like maybe your breakfast sort of items. Would you then have like a I don't know, like a ham cheese sort of thing for like lunches? Are you thinking about that route, or at the minute just kind of keeping it with the breakfast rolls?
At the minute it's just the hot rolls just now, just to see what the demand's like.
Yep.
And then I think the hot rolls at the moment during the week will be 1 o'clock. We'll cut off the rolls. It's just more to give the staff a bit of time to get everything cleaned down.
Yeah, exactly.
And get the place sorted for the next day type thing. I don't want them rushing about. I like them to go home when they're supposed to go home, because everybody's got a life at home, and I don't want them staying on or panicking about getting the hot plate cleared or whatever, because I know I'll go off my nut if it's not cleaned.
You better be listening, boys.
But I think cold rolls could be a thing, and my concern is there, though, it might be we are ready for this. If somebody's coming in for a hot roll, they might say, can you give me a cold roll for my lunch later on? That sort of thing. So there could be scope for that. But I think if that's how it's going to go, I think either I'm going to have to be there a lot more than I am just now, or it might well be we need to employ someone else. Just need to wait
to cover that sort of thing. As you say, you're listening to what your customers and things are wanting at the minute. So the good thing is you're always willing to listen.
Yeah, I think you've got to be. It can't. You've got your ideas and stuff like that, which is great, and it's good. I think you need to stand by what you believe in and what you want your business to look like, and what sort of, and if you believe in your products, that I think that's it'll always come across. But you do need to be adaptable and flexible.
No, definitely, and it's nice that you've realised that with the rolls and stuff, like, because when you first opened up and you mentioned it was just coffee and cakes, which is a great idea. It just always took me back to my past of going on the train and basically like going to my college or going up into town and whatever, and just grabbing a roll before I went. Like, that was my breakfast. That was the start of my morning, how I would get up there. Are you still going to keep doing cakes and things? Like, you still going to do it? Because I know it's a big thing when it comes to doing what you do. Like, is you going to continue with that then?
I need to, because if I stop it, there'll be a mutiny.
An outrage. An outrage of Ashley's cakes. I like that.
There's people that come up that aren't getting on the train that just come up for the cakes. And just now, I made these ginger and white chocolate flapjacks. And
that sounds class.
Kid you know, they have been getting flung out the window. People are just coming up just for that.
Just to get that?
Just to get one of them. I didn't think, it's just after Christmas, I was thinking, who wants to eat chocolate after Christmas? Mm-hmm. Some people might. Me being one of them.
I mean, we will eat chocolate
all the time.
To be fair, we're trying to be good at the minute, but yes.
But you do get this, I'm very aware, and everyone is probably aware of this sort of January, new me, new start, and everything that lasts on average 3.2 weeks.
For me, it's like 2. Ends in 0.2.
I don't even start it. Don't bother.
I'm like the first, I'm like, yes, let's get going. And then day 2, I'm like, we need to clear that cupboard. We may as well just eating it the now, because if we don't clear it the now, we'll never.
Well, it's better if you just eat it all at the once, apparently, as well.
Just get it out the door, that's it.
Yep, so I thought, it's the brownies and stuff like that, I kind of stopped at for a while, and I stopped in the big bits of sponge cake and stuff like that. So I thought, I'm going to see how this goes. And I thought, a couple of people had asked about breakfast bars, and I thought,
like a kind of brunch bar type thing?
You know, you get your kind of your oats, your kind of oaty bars and stuff like that. So I thought, flapjacks, give that a go. So I made a plain flapjack and this one, and it's just the flapjack has taken over.
That's class. Mm-hmm. That sounds good. I'll need to come up and get that one day, hopefully.
It's just becoming adaptable.
Put a special request.
It's just, you try things. What I like doing, I love experimenting, so I'll try something and I'll just put it out there and see how it goes. And our millionaires, brownies and Empire biscuits. Everybody loves one Empire biscuits.
Love an Empire biscuit.
They're a comfort thing.
That's when I worked for my not my previous employer, but my previous employer, there was a big canteen, and every day I would go in, get a cup of tea, and I'd buy an Empire biscuit. That was my thing every day. That's probably why I'm probably the size of a house now. But that was probably my guilty pleasure, or like my treat to myself every day. But like, you worked hard today. Like, have a wee cup and a wee Empire biscuit. Love it.
Aye, and I think it's because we cater for everyone. We cater for gluten-free, vegan. You know, there's something for everybody up there, and that's what makes me happy, because you get and I do feel sorry for folk that've got allergies, or whether it's their life choices or whatever else. You know, that they're it's really difficult to find good bits of cake that they're not charged an arm and a leg for the privilege of having an allergy or whatever it is.
Did you find that there's a markup every time it's like a vegan or a gluten-free type thing? Like, it's mental. It's just like, it's unfair, because some people haven't chose to be that way. Like, that's just their bodies that way. It's not fair.
Exactly. I don't think you should be charged for the privilege. Like, we don't charge for dairy alternative milks and stuff like that extra, because I just don't see why you should. I'm quite happy to take the hit. Not that I take a massive hit on it, that's not what I mean, but it's just I'm trying to be inclusive, because I think that's important to me.
You're not shutting off that clientele customer. Like.
No, and I think I don't, and everyone can do things differently. Everyone does their thing their way, but I just don't see the need to do it.
Nah, good on you, to be fair. I think that's such a bold move to make as well, because I feel like there's people out there that wouldn't do that, and they'd be like, well, if you want it, go somewhere else and get it. Or they might be like, well, you've got to pay through an arm and leg to get it, just because they're not getting, I'm going to use quotation, the norm for people, you know what I mean? But it is normal.
Muggle food.
Muggle food. I see there's a lot of people going this way now with the vegan and gluten-free sort of stuff. I mean, you brought in cake last time. And we were here, and we tried it, and then obviously after it you were like, oh, by the way, that was gluten-free or whatever, and I was like, that was unreal. Didn't even
you can't
even taste the difference. Like,
can't tell the difference.
And I'm like, Rebecca as well and myself, I would say we're quite, she's more than me, quite chocoholics and stuff like that. But I was just like, there's no difference with this. Like, I know that I could tell a big dramatic difference of being like, oh, there's no this and that. I wouldn't even know it. I wouldn't even know how to tell you what's in it or no. But I was just like, there's no. I'm just like, this is so nice. It's such a nice brownie. It was class. And
it should be. Why be punished because you can't have certain things? Like, cake should be for everyone. My whole thing with cake is cake's for everybody and should be for everybody, regardless as to whether you're vegan, gluten-free, dairy intolerant, egg intolerant. You should be able to get a nice bit of cake. That is so important to me, and everything I do in my baking, it's for everybody. Anybody that's got anything that they can't have, I can make it. And it's a challenge for me. It's a personal challenge, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's class. There you go, everybody. Like, I mean, if you do happen to have any of these sort of things, gluten-free, intolerant, and, you know what I mean, dairy intolerant and stuff like that, like, there you go. Coffee Stop's your place.
It is.
And so easy, again, to access. Don't have to try and, I mean, you can jump up and maybe join a wee queue or whatever, but I'm like, you're not having to, like, book in or anything like that. And again, you'll get a nice chat. You'll feel comfortable in the place as well. So, and your stuff is absolutely unreal. Like, super, super good.
It is.
It is.
Genuinely is.
Aye. As you say, if you don't believe in your product, who else is going to believe in it?
I would not put rubbish cake out for consumption. If I genuinely wouldn't put cake out for consumption if I thought it was rubbish.
You thought it was rubbish?
No.
What's your favourite cake you make? I know you talked about the flapjack being like kind of your favourite, you're the best seller, maybe at the moment, but what is like your go-to for something that you love to make and you love to have?
That's maybe not in the shop.
Anything at all.
Red velvet.
Red
velvet cake's my favourite because it's just red velvet sponge, the pure red sponge and the white cream cheese frosting. That's my favourite. But my staple favourite for in the shop's the millionaire shortbread.
Shortbread. No,
it's proper shortbread. Wait, the caramel is just delicious, and then the chocolate on the top. It's just.
It's a big thick bit of caramel as well.
It's a big hunk of millionaire shortbread. It's amazing.
Everybody's going to listen to this like, oh, I'm so hungry. Oh, there you go. That definitely that is the go-to for all cakes, I believe.
Totally. Come and see me. And I'm still doing like birthday cakes and stuff like that. I've had a few people coming up, customers, saying, could you make my son's or my nephew's birthday cake or whatever else, and they just come and collect it from the platform.
Oh, amazing. Yep. There you go. You can get, I was going to call it bespoke, but that's not the right word. Personalised, maybe cake?
Well, absolutely bespoke.
Personalised, there you
however
go.
they fancy it,
that was just a word that came in my head, and it's obviously worked, paid off. I'm so glad it has. Rebecca's absolutely gotten herself behind the camera.
Well, somebody wanted a Black Forest cheesecake for their Christmas dinner. dessert basically. So I was up there on Christmas Eve on the Sunday chatting to folk and having a right, my Santa hat and everything on. It was hilarious. And this woman did come up and collected our Black Forest cheesecake, and she messaged me to say it was absolutely the best cheesecake she's ever tasted.
Oh, that's class.
They had that for their pudding. It was lovely.
I love a bit of cheesecake, especially in the Christmas time as well. That's absolutely amazing.
That's it.
One thing I did want to touch upon, because I feel like it's such a big part. Obviously, we kind of briefly touched upon it. I believe in the last podcast was obviously the fact that you've teamed up with a mental health charity, or as such that you've been a kind of an advocate for them as well. Do you want to tell us a wee bit about that, and obviously maybe the charity, if you're obviously able to, and obviously what they do and what you kind of guys are doing there as well?
So talking about the charity up in the platform for the sort of the railway charity.
Was that the one that you've kind of came into? Is it a partnership that you have done, or is it just that you are kind of advocating what they're doing?
We just advocate what they do. I think, and they approached us because we're right on this train station platform, and let's not hide the fact that there's a lot of people, unfortunately, take to train station platforms to end their life. Yep. It happens a lot, sadly. But I think what it was, there's a lot of vulnerable people that hang about train stations as well, just because they feel safe there. They feel they can hang about there because there's CCTV everywhere. There's always somebody about, particularly at Paisley Gilmour Street. Yes. And there's quite a lot of vulnerable young kids that hang about there from really far, quite far away from here in Paisley. And they basically teamed up with us because we're open quite late on a Thursday and Friday night, which is kind of the nights where it does seem to be a wee bit busier up there. They wanted to kind of team up with us just to see if we'd keep an eye on a few of the individuals that kind of hang about up there. But obviously, I think they'd seen us take the time to speak to a couple of people, and they quite liked the fact that they took their flyers and stuff and got in touch with them after interaction with us, because sometimes I feel it starts with just a conversation about somebody's day, and you're just asking how somebody's day was, as we do all the time. Yep. Well, if there's a really long queue, it can be difficult. We just sometimes take the time just to say hello and how you doing. But these interactions would come from just a basic conversation about somebody's day, and they'd really opened up about they were having a really difficult time and were in a mental health crisis. And you're thinking, what can I do right now? Not a lot, potentially. You're stuck behind the kiosk at the desk. There's not really a lot you can do at that moment in time, but if you can pass them on to an organisation that can provide them help and assistance even at that time, even if it's just somebody to talk to, you just don't know what you've potentially avoided. Yes. For somebody. Aye,
because that's what I like, the fact is that you were spreading the word about it and stuff like that. And as you say, like, the train stations for me are quite notorious for incidents happening and things like that as well. So it's nice that there's a place in Paisley, again, one of the busiest stations, one of the local stations, that they get somewhere that if they feel like they've not got anybody, there is always somebody there that, whether it be passing on information or simply grabbing a cup of coffee and having a wee quick chat, if obviously time allows it as well. But I'd imagine most of the time you might just catch people that maybe not even ordering, but just kind of hanging about the booth and stuff like that, and just want to have
they just gravitate towards you. It's like a sitcom sometimes up there. There'll be me kind of polishing the kind of milk jugs and whatever else, and they're standing there giving me a life story. It's like something is it Frasier? No, not Frasier. What is it? What's that American?
But like Friends or something like that.
Aye, something like that, basically. Friends, but you're just standing there like, cheers, that was it. Cheers. And you just get everybody's...
Everybody knows your name.
Yes. But you get everybody's tales of woe. You get everybody's good news as well, which is nice. It's not always doom and gloom up there. I don't want to come across as if all we get people's
I just thought it was something, because you're such a big advocate on mental health, and we were also discussing it out with other things as well. When you were telling me about the kind of how cups of coffee and stuff like that can impact people's health and stuff like that, and mental health and things like that. So it was just such a big thing that I thought we maybe touched upon it just briefly in the last one, but I just thought how obviously now you've been in for about 3-4 months as well, and how that's changed around, because you've got the Samaritans number and things like that, and then you just were discussing this other charity stuff that you were dealing with.
But I think for us as well, it's just taking that time just to kind of to speak to people, and I think with Ross and I's background, we are very used to dealing with people in mental health crisis, sometimes at the worst parts in somebody's mental health crisis, so we're quite experienced with these things, and both of us in the same wavelength with it. I think sometimes when you do the job that we done before, you can become a bit desensitised to these things. we haven't. We definitely keep it in the here and now and the real, because everybody's situation's different, and I think we recognise that, and it's just being able to give someone sometimes it is just being an ear for someone to talk to. That's all you have to be, and sometimes that's enough. And that's,
some people just want to be listened to.
Yep.
And feel like somebody's listening to what it is, and build it up inside them. They just need something to listen to. So
yeah, but we can pick up the signs as well. There's maybe a bit more to it. Maybe there's a bit more concern here to be worried about. Like, there was a situation where one of the guys that works with us as well, he'd said that, I just felt there was something a wee bit more to this. So he gave the guy the number, the wristband and everything that he needed to, and he did contact them, and they were really, really thankful
that you passed that over. I just think that's amazing. As I say, you aren't just there just to sell coffee, to sell food, and
we mean it.
To do all that sort of stuff. Like, you are a big part of that community that comes in there, and really kind of do care about the people that you actually come into interaction with.
Genuinely,
each day.
Genuinely care. It's not just transactional.
No, and that's it. And I'd say we seen it firsthand. Even the day that you weren't opened, even the day you weren't open, you were still the same. You could have been like, mate, we're not open to whatever, like, but you weren't like that. You're like, yeah, come on in, like, aye, that's it. And you didn't have to do that as well, because you were there for another reason. You didn't have to be like that, but you were, and all you were, even your family were, and that's just a credit to everybody that was there that day.
I know.
What's the kind of next big thing then? Do you think, for the coffee stop? What's the?
Oh, I don't know. I think just now is getting the rolls in.
Getting the rolls
in. And I've been, threatened within an inch of my life to hurry up and get the rolls in. Customers are like, when's he's coming in? Particularly station staff are like, come on, when's this happening?
When's this happening? People of Paisley.
Come on. Gee whiz. It's just, it does take time. But I think you need to go a full circle for the first year. I think you touched on it in one of the podcasts you've done recently about that overwhelming stage a wee bit. You know, you kind of get to that stage where you think, what's happening? Where do I need to be there now? And I think that was my time. First 2 weeks in December, I didn't know where my head was. Yeah. I've got a rough idea what it was, but I'm not going to say it on camera. But it was overwhelming, and it was really difficult to find the balance between when I needed to be there, when I didn't. I've got 2 young kids at home, husband, it was quite difficult to juggle the demand and where I needed to be and where I fit into it all sometimes. Because the guys that work up there all the time, they've got it down to a fine art. And I sometimes don't want to tread in their toes or get in their road. It's more likely the case for me getting in their road than the other way about. But I think now that we've got to the kind of 4-month mark, looking to the 6-month mark, hopefully we're coming into spring and summer. Yep. So
we hope that the weather picks up as well.
It's got to. It's driving me insane.
It's coming and going, and I'm like, is it going to snow? Is it going to wind? Like,
what's that?
I feel like I'm in the Wizard of Oz. What do you wear?
What do I do?
I'm sick of wearing big jackets. I'm like, come on, let's get them off.
So we're looking for the better weather. So it's iced coffee, refreshers.
Oh, that would be
all
amazing.
That sort of thing. So that's next in the pipeline. I'm very much a one thing at a time. Don't throw everything at once, because you'll end up with a lot of wastage. You don't know if it's going to work or fit or not. So it's just, I'll take time between now, when we get the hot plate in and it's up and running and everyone's getting rolls chucked at them before they go on their train. It'll be taking the time to speak to people and ask, what next? What do you think we should be doing next? And ask our customers, because they're the ones that know what they want.
Yep.
And we don't know unless we ask. So that's sort of next thing in the pipeline.
I just see like a wee fill in form, like what would you like to see?
No, a poll on Instagram.
A poll. That's it. I definitely. That is actually perfect, because that leads us on. Like, how the hell do we find your content? We spoke about it last one, but we have to do it again. Yeah. How do we find you on the socials?
The Coffee Stop Paisley is Facebook and Instagram.
The Coffee Stop Paisley, sorry.
The Coffee Stop Paisley, Instagram and Facebook. So you can get us no bother, and just. Anyone else has got any suggestions or anything else they want to? I think I said this last time.
You were quite open.
Tell us what you want, and within reason.
Of course. Like, be realistic with the expectations that you're maybe wanting to put forward, folks. Ashley, thanks so much for coming in.
No worries,
honestly, class chat again. And you're the first one to come back and be like a
return.
And a return. I'm a returning guest. I like that. We'll have like a wee section. It'll just be Ashley's corner.
And we've got so much more happening. We've got so much more coming up. It's exciting.
That's the thing, because we're going to have a wee chat hopefully for another podcast as
all
well.
Things coffee.
Yes, all things coffee and all things again. health and things like that, and mental health and things. So no, listen, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Those that are listening, please feel free to drop us a wee subscribe or a like on the YouTube. If you're on Spotify, you can hit the follow button. There's also a rating as well that you can leave, so 5 stars would be greatly appreciated. But just share the podcast far and wide. People of Renfrewshire out with, you know what I mean, please let them know. I mean, you're going to come across the train station at one point if you're in the Renfrewshire area. So
Moan up,
say hello. That's what it takes. You know what I mean, like, come up and say hello. Whether you meet, I mean, the staff or whatever. Actually, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. We love it to pieces. And we love going and seeing it. So thank you so much again, Ashley.
Cheers.
And we will see you again in the next one. Thanks very much, folks.